Welcome to Building Bridges of Hope on Hope Channel Zambia. As we begin this program, I'd like to urge you to follow our Facebook page, and also I want you to check our YouTube page. Today on Building Bridges of Hope, we'll be talking about branding. Now, branding may be described in different ways. Branding or corporate branding, also branding for a church. On this program, I'm joined by Pastor Dexter Njoka. He will take us through this process of branding. Pastor Dexter Njoka, welcome to the program, Building Bridges of Hope.
Thank you. It's my pleasure always to be here.
Pastor, as a columnist in the Mast magazine, and I like the way you've branded yourself, the communicologist, the communication scientist, but you have been doing more of the branding. Share with us, who is Pastor Dexter Njoka?
Well, like you've likely put it, I am so much into communication science, like said, the communicologist, but I've had a lot of interest for this year in my article submissions for the Mass newspaper to concentrate on branding. At the moment, personal branding, then later go on to corporate branding. And so basically, that is my line of writing at the moment.
Well, dear viewer, it seems like an exciting topic that we have today. At this point, allow me to delve into the topic deeper and deeper. When it comes to church branding, share with us, what are we talking about, or what are we looking at?
So basically, when we talk about branding, it's to do with identity. Our identity as a church, when people, be it internal or external stakeholders, when they look at our church, when they hear the name of our church, well, what perceptions do they have about our church? So basically, that's it. It's the identity. It's the same as the name of the church. Basically, that's what we're talking about when you say branding.
When you say it's the identity of the church, do you mean to say it's a logo? Just a logo?
Okay, so many people...
is the logo just among the elements?
Yeah, so many people actually, many people, I hear these people called graphic artists.
Yes.
They'll tell you, come we brand your stuff. They think a logo is a brand. And, you know,
Hmm.
so a logo is just one of the elements of what makes a brand. There are things like the byline, and there's also the color,
the font,
and so on and so forth. All those are just part of the elements of a brand or an identity. But a brand is a big thing. It's so big. It's like the mission of the organization. And so when you talk about the mission, what are the things that isolate or separate you or make you stand out from the other organizations that are actually giving the same services or same products?
Why is it important also for the church to have a brand? Are we in competition? Do we have competitors?
So basically...
Are we like the corporate world where we have to have the best brand and compete with our competitors, do a market research, and also make sure that our brand stands out? Well, is it important?
So basically, when you talk about branding, history has it that it started way back
Israel.
When they were doing posting mails and courier of goods and stuff like that. And so when things happened like that, people wanted to identify and be able to tell whose goods are which ones. And so they started now naming them, you know. That's how the branding genesis started, where they were now identifying this one belongs to this person as we are posting those things. So basically, when you say, why is it necessary for us to do a brand? You remember our church's genesis, the beginning of our church. They prayerfully came up with the name Seventh Adventist Church. And when you look at the name Seventh Adventist Church, it speaks volume of who we are, what we are. So it's important because there's so many churches around. There's so many denominations around.
Do we have to compete with
them?
So
not only we are competing, but we need to be identified as who we are. We need to be visible.
I'll take you to the corporate world.
Yes.
When we talk about the brand or branding in the corporate world, the corporate itself, the institution, can be the brand.
Mm-hmm.
And also products could also be the brand.
Yes.
And we have it also in the church set up like that, where the corporate brand as a church, and also departments, the youths and the pictures they are portraying to the people, the Dorcas mothers.
Yes. So usually we need to have an integrated system of where every activity that the church is seemingly doing, be it at departmental level and at church organization level, we are seemingly syncing, agreeing that they are all speaking to the identity of the church. That's the identity. What's the mission of the church? So whatever the youths, the Dorcas, the choir are doing, they should be agreeing. Now, if they do not agree, that's now where we have issues to do with image and reputation. Okay, so the brand identity is what we as the organization dream of, aspire to be seen as. But what people perceive, people say, whatever we talk about branding, people still say the church is bad, or there's the church in this way, in the negative. The fact is that we are looking at the image now, what people perceive about us and what we ideally think we are. So the distance between the two is what we call reputation. And so in all these things that we do as church missions and departments and everybody else, internal stakeholders, we should make sure that we are speaking to the identity, of which if we fall short to it, we have reputation issues.
Reputation issues, another way that I'm interested in asking you, but for now, we go back still to the brand.
Okay.
When we talk about the brand, there's brand loyalty. For instance, there are certain products that I love, that I like, and I'm a loyal customer to those products. Can we also have brand loyalty when it comes to churches?
Yeah, definitely. Don't you see some church members who are in church not because of the convictions of the doctrine, but because they were born in the church?
They were born and bred in the church.
Yes, I've heard of people that came to our church and said, I want to marry in this dear church, because my grandmother said this was the right church. The guy doesn't believe in that. So that's brand loyalty. There are people that come to our church, not for anything else, but because they saw somewhere how we did a burial procession for somebody. Okay. And they say, I want, when I die, to be buried that way.
To be buried. So that's why it's important to have that brand. Okay, we move out from the corporate brand a bit. What is the brand identity? What is the brand? Or what would be branding for the Seventh Adventist Church?
So I think
away from the corporate.
Yes.
If you can make comparisons.
Our church, ideally, it started as an Adventist movement. It started as the people that merged together from different denominations, believing that Christ was coming in 1844. Okay? And so that was the genesis. Our church has been speaking about the second coming of Christ. It stood out on that. And then it comes to the Great Commission in Matthew chapter 28. And that's where actually we get our identity from. Go out there, preach the gospel, baptize them, and bring them to, and tell them about the coming of Christ. So basically, that's what makes us stand out from the other denominations.
From other denominations. If I were to ask you, you may not have done your research, you may not have done that research, but let me ask you still, since you are in that field, where do you rank the Seventh Adventist Church in Zambia?
All right, in Zambia, I think
as Protestants.
Yes, amongst Protestants, from the latest statistics which I need to establish, we used to be, I think, second from the United Church of Zambia.
So United Church of Zambia
used
has
to be
so many. Compared to.
Yeah, I did the research on that. I think they were the highest. At that time, they were talking about having a membership of 3 million.
Wow.
Okay, but then from the current census, we are kind of number one. We are ranked number one in Zambia.
Wow, that's good news. Seventh Adventist Church is ranking number one among the Protestants.
Yes.
Must we keep our identity? What do you think has caused that rise?
So there could be a lot of things
Factors
that compound to that. And one of them is we've done a lot of mission exploits. And our church, what makes it so visible is the outreach activities that we have. It's one of the few Protestant churches in Zambia.
As you come on evangelism, allow me to divert a bit and take you to the secular world.
Yeah.
When we are doing an analysis, we can either do a SWOT analysis or Pestel. I bring you Pestel because it takes us to the external.
Yeah.
Political, economically, technologically, environmentally, legally, and socially, and so on and so forth. Where would you say has also, politically, has it also helped?
Yeah, it has.
Thank you so much.
To some extent. Look, we take it, we leave it. The fact that we have the head of state who is a Seventh Adventist.
Yes.
So when he's doing his worships, he's worshiping with any of the churches, it's on TV. And people see that. And you see, today, you don't need to ask when you see a Dorcas mother in uniform which church they belong to.
People
because the
know
first
it
lady is always in that uniform. So that primes us to a point where it becomes so visible.
Are
The
you
head of
saying
state-
that's a brand also?
It
That
is helping.
contributing to
You
the
see,
brand?
in branding, there are what we call ties. Social media, they call them endorsers, influencers. When you are about to introduce a brand on the market, or when you want to cement a brand, you bring influencers, and then they'll, they'll endorse. They'll say something good about the brand. So in short, it's like the president, the first lady, and these ministers who are Adventist. They are kind of like helping endorse the identity of the church.
Thank you so much. I take you back to the line of thought that you had started with.
Yes.
Evangelism, how has it helped?
So it helps in a way that, evangelism is like, in the corporate world, what we call corporate social responsibility.
Corporate social responsibility, the
Yes.
CSR.
Yeah, so when we go out there, we don't just preach about Christ. They're what we do, like personal ministry department, they give out, reach out to the poor and stuff like that. Community services, you see. We have community schools, we have community hospitals, clinics and stuff like that. And so when we do this, people get to relate with us. People get to like what we're doing, and they're like, okay, these people are speaking to what we are feeding our needs. And that's what actually Christ did. He reached out to the people. He could feed 5,000 people. That was reaching out to them. And so that's what this church is doing. And by so doing, our brand or our identity is becoming very prominent.
On a lighter note, is Adventist Men Organization hiding in the brand of the Dorcas? Because the uniform for AMO is not, is not prominent
yes.
compared to the Dorcas mother. In your examples
Yes,
you gave,
yes,
you
yes,
see the
yes, yes. It's
men
actually
also helping in the
it's
brand?
actually getting there. If you remember back in the days, we used to have a first president, Mulongo, something like that.
Teddy Mulonga.
Teddy Mulonga. You remember he would go on TV, interview. Is it Kwacha Good Morning with ZNBC or prior to a game? You'll be seated there being interviewed in a UCZ uniform.
Oh yeah, I remember.
It was the rebel, obviously, to make the uniform prominent. And I'll tell you that actually this year and last year, the Adventist men uniform is becoming prominent because the president actually, when he went, I think, to the Dorcas rally, he was wearing one.
Yes.
More so with the tie, the maroon tie. And I've seen we have been doing a lot of Adventist men activities, campaigns. I saw you were running one on your TV. So meaning that even the men, they're obviously coming from behind. Fact is that the numbers, we have more women than men. And usually our men's uniform is like a suit. So it's very difficult to get to tell. It's not tailored. It's not tailored as the uniform per se. But it's something that is coming. But it's not as prominent as the Dorcas or the youth uniform. But it's coming.
Colleagues, the UCZ that have reddish.
And it's the same with the women and men. You find that their women wear black and red. Men wear black and red. So, but with us it's different. Our men is a navy blue suit, something like that, white shirt. But our Dorcas mothers is cyan or sky blue. So it's so different.
Pastor Dexter Njuka. Oh, I love the word cyan.
Yeah.
That's a bluish, like the one you're seeing in this background.
Oh, yeah.
That's cyan.
Yeah.
Technically, we have it. When a brand hits a nudge, a brand faces a crisis, the Adventist Church is always in the social media.
Yeah.
Is there a remedy?
Yeah, but when we say the Seventh Adventist Church is in social media, it's basically we are talking about the
backlash,
the demographics relating to Zambia. It's not the same as you would think in other countries, in the United States, in Zimbabwe, in Botswana. Usually, it's maybe we are limited to our space and think that it's receiving the backlash everywhere else. But it's here, and more so because I think we kind of delayed to catch up with the phenomena, but then I think we are putting up mechanism on how we can counter, how we can, you see, we have a situation where we are coming from a background where we don't even know as clergy when a crisis happens, how to go about it.
Crisis management.
Yes. But now I think we are getting there because now we have hanging statements. We can speak to it as we try to come up with a statement here and there, and then it helps in one way or the other. But then the backlash usually comes, you find that it's actually is nourished by the same Adventist members.
Now tell me something. Is it because the population has grown big? Like you are saying now, Adventists is the highest among the Protestants in the country, or it's because people are talking about it? Is it because of the numbers? That's why we find ourselves with negative publicity towards our brand, or is it because maybe, what could be the factor affecting it? Is it because of media, or is it because we've grown in numbers, so we expect?
But basically, I think the two unions in Zambia took it upon themselves to come up with a deliberate action to see how we can policy our church members. Usually the backlash is not from external stakeholders, it's within. Internal. It's our church members. We have a lot of young people who are so excited and who sometimes feel maybe they're not being heard. There isn't that kind of interaction back at church, and so they want to vent their frustrations online and stuff like that. You find the young person, a pastor's picture is posted, then the young person is all over the place, he's shooting down and saying all sort of negative things. That speaks volume of how we relate. But look at other denominations. There's order, there's discipline in how they relate online. They know that there are things that are supposed to be dealt with and communicated internally and not for the outside world to see, because that soils your reputation, your identity when you do that. So how we go about that is to educate, especially more about the policy, the handbook that we have for social media behavior. But I think that I've seen, yes, we have the book, we have the policy, but people are not aware of that. We need to come to a point where if in the church it would cause discipline for somebody to fight, to insult, so we should begin to look at social media and issues that can be dealt with at local church. I saw some, I think weeks ago, where a member who has been tied to a Dorcas uniform was insulting political people and stuff like that. So it's not the union or the conference that should do with that. It's the local church where she has a membership that would say, in our church, we do not entertain people to insult in that manner. And then they discipline them at that level. That would be sending a message to say the SDH's identity is ideal for this and that.
Well, it is said that communication is the heartbeat of human connection. But apart from that, in this world of words, communication can either heal or destroy. We have been destroyed to some extent. What are we doing about it as a church when it comes to internal publics that you have just mentioned? Because if it's in the corporate social world, when the internals are not dealt with, then it's a crisis. The internals are the workers, the internals are the members, the externals are those who are outsiders. Now, there's a backlash in the Adventist church from the internals. What's the solution?
Wow. I think is to make the communication channels clear, who is supposed to communicate what, and once that is known, it will become apparent, and then we'll be able to isolate those instances that are not standing good in terms of our reputation as a church. And I think we have seen at the union, they've brought in an expert who is the Associate Communication Director. And also at my conference, I am an expert in that field. I'm working as associate there as well. And I think from the two actions that have taken place this year, I've seen a bit of sanity here and there taking place. Like in our conference, we don't seem to have those problems of members, internal stakeholders misbehaving online, because we've put up mechanisms how to deal with that. We are able to tell, because you see, what the church should do, either as a union or conference, is to have apps that are able to give you mentions. Whenever my church is mentioned,
you can track it.
I'm able to track. Where is it? Immediately. I don't have to wait to receive a phone call from a church member. Pastor, if you had a backlash, no. I should be, hands-on and be able to tell. And then from there, we're able to find the root cause and stuff like that.
Thank you so much. I think still kudos to both unions. Quite a lot have been put in place, or measures have been put in place. In communication, we say communication is the bridge between chaos and clarity. How clear is our brand to the world?
Wow.
And how clearly are we passing on the information?
The church is getting clearer all the time, because it's very consistent in its identity. It has these events that take place either 5 years or 3 years that actually are a confirmation or reaffirming what the identity stands for. And our message is very clear. We have 28 fundamental beliefs, and we don't divert from that. Yes, you could have social media backlash, memes, where people say they don't eat pork, but they do this kind of stuff. But that just speaks volume. Even if people make jokes about it, that joke has some truth to it. So SDAs don't consume pork.
Wow.
That just speaks volume of our identity being clear. If outsiders, external stakeholders can say, jokingly they can say, SDAs, this they don't do, but this, then it speaks volume that actually they're appreciating that we stand out when it comes to that.
We say comparisons are orders. Sometimes compare an apple to an apple, not an apple to an orange.
Yeah.
So still there is some truth,
Yeah.
and we can take it in the positive light.
Yeah.
Then people know that really Adventists do this and that. Okay, thank you so much. Before I bring you to the event that will be coming, the 2000, known as One Voice 27.
Yeah.
What would be still your words, closing words, not on the program, just on branding as a church? I want to divert you to the upcoming events.
Okay, so my last words on the subject branding. Look, I've already said a name is big business. God had to give Adam the first responsibility to name things. And there are people whose names actually were changed by God, because a name, like it is said in science, is like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's a vehicle that pushes you to the future. We talk about Jacob. Jacob was trickily, he was crooked, and his name was changed to Israel. So the name is a very important thing in this context. Brand, who we are, what we stand for, very, very important. And we have to live up to that name. There's a joke of one great army general called Alexander the Great. So one time in war, he came across one timid soldier who bore his name, and he said,
Alexander.
He said, Alexander. So he was like, Alexander, there's one thing you can do. It's either you change your name or behave like me. Okay, so once we are Seventh Adventists, it's either we change or be Seventh Adventists. So in our behaviors, in our attitudes, in our actions, we should be standing and speaking to what the church stands for. It's not like it's a free market where you can do things anyhow, anyway, and still be a Seventh Adventist. You'll be actually not helping the identity of the church.
We are still coming to the One Voice 27, but I've been you've captured my attention by your example, illustration on Alexander. Can one change his name now? Does it happen?
Wow. Yeah.
In the name of branding?
Yes. From the personal point of view, people have changed names. I've heard people that have changed names. From my point of view, I added up another name when I was older to my identity, because I felt that name was propelling my personal brand.
Unpack that.
Yeah.
Share.
So
we go back to.
I'll tell you what. I don't know how my mother feel about it. When I was born, I was called Adani.
Adani meaning what?
Enemies.
Enemies.
Okay? Yeah, because
hold on.
Adani.
Adani. Is it Chewa, Nyanja, Ngoni, or what?
Yeah, it's in Senga.
It's in Senga. So when he was born, he was called Adani.
Yeah.
Was it malapropism? Maybe mistaken pronunciation of Adam?
No. It was intentionally said.
Intentional.
So. Yes, it was
Adani.
intentional. Yeah.
Can I call you Adani?
No. Because you see, when my grandfather named me that, whatever reasons, he felt I was a child that was going to cause enmity between families and stuff like that. But my mother was like, no. My son cannot be called Adani. I don't want my son to have enemies all over his life. So she knocked out an NI, added an SON, and named me Adamson. So she knocked out an NI, added an MSON. I now became Adamson.
Wow, so your mother did branding already for you.
That's what it means.
Share
that was
with me
personal
also
branding.
how you also did another branding.
Yeah, so with
repositioning
that,
yourself.
I was like, okay, mom has done this. Then I asked her, what is my other name? She's like, wow, Sonny, we just gave you one name. When you grow up, if you like having another name, you can add it up. So I thought, well, okay, I'm so skilled with my hands. So I looked for a name. Dexter was fitting in well.
Dexter.
Yeah, so I ended up being Dexter Adamson Njuka. So basically, that's it. And in fact, the name Njuka, it just means gambling cards, playing cards.
Playing cards, yes.
You'll find that actually my father, his other brothers or siblings, do not go by the name Njuka. Others would go by the name Chisenga. And though it came because their grandfather was so obsessed with playing cards.
Playing cards.
My father too, before he got converted, was into playing cards. Okay, so you see that the name comes as a result of probably characteristics and things behind that and stuff like that. So it's just important, even at personal level, to think of changing one's name.
But I've missed a point a bit in case, dear viewer, you're following us. It's we are on Building Bridges of Hope, talking about branding as we transition to another topic. But I'm interested to hear that. So you rebranded yourself.
Yes.
Your mom, first of all, branded you, did a rebranding, and removed the Anani and gave you Adamson.
Yes.
Then again, further, you rebranded yourself, you added Dexter.
Yes.
Did you legitimize
Yes.
the names?
So when we say Dexter Adamson Njuka,
recognized at the Boma?
So you say Dexter
the
Adamson
British,
Njuka.
Yeah.
Oh, the Boma, okay.
The Boma, British.
So it did cost me.
British Office of Men Administration or something.
Yes. So it did cost me resources to do that, but I needed to, because what was happening was that my school documents would bear the name Dexter. Then my NRC, because you know NRC you get when you're young, it's your father who tells you what to say and what to write. So it didn't have Dexter. But then my NRC had just Adamson Njuka. And then my school documents are Dexter Adamson Njuka. So I had to present those into the High Court, and so what they call DITPO. So they did present and give reasons why you are adding up names. And so I became officially called Dexter Adamson Njuka. It was I think in public notice for 21 days. And after that, I was given a different NRC.
Legitimate.
And so I am Dexter Adamson Njuka.
So
legitimate.
Legally legitimate.
Yes.
Legit.
Yes.
With authority.
True.
But also influence because of the branding.
Oh, yeah.
Pastor Dexter, thank you so much. At this point, we will transition too much about branding. Well, dear viewer, in case you have a comment on branding, you can still follow our Facebook page or check our YouTube page with the same. We now transition to the One Voice 27. What is One Voice 27? Are we talking about branding again?
Well, it's talking about our digital evangelism emphasis, which will culminate to 2027, and is called, as you've said, One Voice 27, meaning that between 2026 to 2027, church members will see and are expected and encouraged to get into a lot of digital exploits relating to evangelism. And suffice to say, they just ended annual general council of the Seventh Adventist Church in America, but did take up board decisions relating to digital missions. And I remember we had a general conference session that actually ran between two Sabbaths, and the offering that was collected from there, $3.8 million, has been actually directed into digital missions. And so it will go down to divisions, and I'm hopeful that the divisions will roll it down to their unions and conferences. And so in the One Voice,
but also smaller entities.
Yes. So in the One Voice 27, the emphasis is that the church at local level to the general conference should actually deliberately spend in the infrastructure, digital infrastructure, for the purpose of missions.
Well, dear viewer, if you're coming from any church, there will be One Voice 27. We need to make use of the digital platform to reach out the over 1 billion, to reach out to the 8 billion people of this
around the world.
Around the world. Why did they choose 27?
Obviously, because we have, I've seen in 2026, there are some activities That will culminate to 2027 for these things. I think obviously we need to prepare for this. The churches need to deliberately make budgets relating to that. Usually as the Associate Communication Director, I do have this challenge where my communication leaders at local church level complain that there's little budget in line with their departments. Okay, and so I think this comes at the right time where the pastors, the church elders, as they go towards the end of the year making budgets, they should deliberately put this thing across, and it will help in the long run, because we need to exist on these platforms. And usually we do spend a lot of resources when it comes to public campaigns. And you discover that actually in these public campaigns, it all goes back to branding.
Branding.
People have always said,
we are selling the brand.
Yeah, people are always saying, but we spend a lot of money and we baptize probably few from outside and many from within the church. My argument has been, when you go to the corporate world, a lot of resources are spent on branding, visibility. So it's not necessarily that you're looking at the immediate results.
No.
So when we are singing in those public spaces, they see us sing, we are in our uniforms, people are becoming familiar with our name. That the next time we go to meet them in their homes, they'll say, oh, we know that church. That's what it's all about. So it's not necessarily that you have immediate results and then you can say, give excuses why we spend a lot of money there. It's justifiable in the way that it's a long-term process.
Hey, you brought me back a bit to branding as we do the One Voice 27.
Yes.
Where is Christ in this branding? Is it only branding the SDA church, the brand visibility? So where does Christ come in?
So the mission of the church is about the Great Commission.
The Great Commission.
And Jesus is at the center of the Great Commission.
That's a message.
Yes, and Christ is coming again. It's all at the center of it all. So he is the message. Christ is the message. Christ is the message. So he is in it. He is the champion. He's the general telling us to go into this and stuff like that.
Thank you so much. When I look at 27 or so, is it coincidence that it matches with the 2000 that has passed? Aren't we told that in 2020, in the year 27, Anno Domino 27 or AD 27, Christ was born? It's reflecting on the birth of Christ, death, resurrection, and also maybe his coming. This 2000 period, is it coincidence?
Well, I may not have authority over that because I didn't get to details of how this was inspired to be dubbed as One Voice 27. But it's interesting to hear that coincidence taking place, and obviously it will be a nice narrative to put across as we get towards the event.
So reaching out to the people using digital method, how equipped is Dexter Njoka as an individual before I come to the entity you're representing?
Yeah.
Copper Belt Conference.
So basically, every member that has a smartphone.
Even us who are not techie savvy?
Yes, anybody in the church that has a smartphone is well equipped to get involved in digital missions. But then when you talk about digital missions, we have categories, just like at church. The others that will be going door-to-door witnessing, the others that will be into prayer band, the others that will be into maybe the preacher, the speaker, then the others that are doing the cooking and stuff. So it's a united force. So it's not that everybody, when we get to have a smartphone, is able to create content. But the others, basically, that will be there to share created content. Others will just be doing the liking. And that's what we mean when we say digital evangelism. Others will just broadcast the already created content. Like for Hope Channel, if something is interesting, the best people can do is to cross-post. Cross-posting?
Cross-posting,
yes.
Cross-post, yes.
Yes, and also you can also share. And also you can like. Sometimes people have said they'll do highlight and put names of their friends there, and they'll do the hashtags. All those are kinds of actions we can take in terms of digital missions.
And obviously, of course, we have less than 2 years. I can't say what what measures have you put in place? But still allow me to say, what measures do you intend to put in place to achieve this One Voice 27 as a conference?
So as a conference, actually we are coming to the end of our tenure in December, when we'll be going to the session. But ideally, we are looking at having a strategy. I think I keep on talking about a strategy. The church for so long in Africa, in Zambia, has not been having a communication strategy. So people communicate anyhow, anyway. But once we have that in place, it will be helping us to speak to the vision, the mission of the entity. And so from there, these equipments are actually things that are just helping us drive the narrative. Okay, and I think so far so good. We've educated our communication leaders, our elders. They are very much familiar with what digital missions is all about, and they are supporting already. They are seen to be supporting, to be wanting to be not lagging behind or lagging from behind, but also be in the frontiers to do the missions. So I think we are headed there.
Okay, you have just mentioned to say we have not put up a communication strategy. I know which is different from a communication policy. Now, is it possible that during these remaining days?
Well, I think a strategy takes a bit of time and resources to come about with a team of people that will look at the mission of the church and benchmark and get in there, align with that, sync with that, and see how best they can work things out. So I think a document is something that is an ongoing process, and then it actually basically starts from the general conference, then it comes down to the local church. So we do get a template from the union to the conference, and the church at local level gets from the conference. And so when things begin to come from that level, we fine tune and do the exact thing.
This point has come towards the end, but look, with the communication strategy not yet in place, how do we handle crisis? How do we know our objectives? How do we, I think, is it because maybe as a church, on this matter, we haven't taken it with the agency it deserves?
So basically, it's it's usually done like guesswork, where people can just wake up and say, oh, there's a crisis here, how do you go about it? Because ideally, you need to have a crisis committee, subcommittee, whatever you call it, where you have the CEO of an organization, the security guy and stuff like that. In the church setup, you have the president, you have the CFO, you have the executive secretary, you have the communication, and maybe some from departments and some lay people.
We are equipped then.
So we are equipped. So these people, they sit together and then they imagine a crisis. Okay, and then they put up modalities and the template. So when there's a crisis, you get the template and fill in that. And usually, what kills a situation is the silence. Okay, when the church is unnecessarily silent and people begin to ask. So best is when you don't have the answers yet, you have what we call a hanging statement, where you say, in the meantime, this has happened, and as we are doing things, be informed. We are investigating. That's good enough. That's good enough. Sometimes even when you are not even investigating, sometimes even when you're not doing nothing about it, but once you've spoken, people know that you are alive to what is happening, and that really helps. I think that's basically what we're coming from a time. We're coming to from a place where it was all church, clergy, everything was clergy. But now I see some lines being drawn where the other experts in the church, like you guys, the Hope Channel. I do usually, when I'm doing a press statement, I engage people from Hope Channel. They help me, oh, Pastor, do it like this. They add this input from them here and there. And then when it's taken to the public, it's professionally done. And so we have these places as tools for us to not have problems with this crisis.
Well, dear viewer, at this point, allow me to ask for the closing remarks from Pastor Dexter Njuka, both on branding and also on the One Voice 27 that will be happening. Pastor Dexter Njuka, your closing remarks on this. But before maybe I come to the closing remarks, just a thought. What, I think it might divest us.
Okay.
Your closing remarks on this.
All right, thank you. It's always my pleasure to be hosted here, and you can talk the whole day long about digital missions. But I think in summing it up, we are saying the church has a name that needs to be guarded. Church members, the congregants, and the leadership at large. We need to do whatever it takes to just make sure that we do not soil the name of this church. And the church from the General Conference has taken deliberate actions in which that we are saying we're going to have One Voice 27 in the year 2027. And members, even at local church, are expected to do a lot of digital missions, exploits. And so we are expected to speak to the mission of the church. And so we encourage church members in the country, in the local conferences, to get equipped, to read a lot about digital missions, what the church stands for, and also the local church elders, the church boards, to support their communication team, their departments, by equipping them, at least the barest minimum, with a smartphone. And then they'll be able to do things of that sort to help with the digital missions. And like I say always, if Christ was in our time, he would have really taken advantage of TikTok, he would have taken advantage of Instagram, he would have taken advantage of Facebook, YouTube, to just talk about him and his Father's mission. And so we should get into the space of evangelism.
Well, we should get into the space of digital mission. As we end our program, allow me just to make this summary to say we have been talking about branding of the church and the One Voice 27. Talking about branding, it's my prayer that the Lord's branding be our branding, so that other people may come to know him in a personal way. At this point in time, Pastor Dexter Njuka, with your rebranding, you've repositioned yourself. We hope also that other people will take you as a role model and see Christ in you. For now, thank you so much for joining us.
It's been a
See
pleasure.
you again on another program.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. See you. Have a good one.